You've been staring at the same problem for hours. A difficult email, a stalled project, or a question you can't quite answer. You try to force a solution through sheer willpower. You operate under the assumption that harder focus, squeezing the brain just a bit more, will eventually yield results. But it doesn't. Eventually, you give up. You walk away from the desk and step into the mundane environment of the shower. Then, 20 seconds in, while performing the automatic task of washing your hair, the exact solution you were chasing suddenly arrives, fully formed. This sudden burst of clarity is a hardwired neurological feature of the human brain. It raises a central question about our biology. Why do our best ideas only appear when we stop looking for them? In 2001, neurologist Marcus Raichle challenged a foundational assumption in his field. For decades, researchers believed the brain stayed busy during work and went quiet during rest. During his research, Raichle noticed something strange in these brain scans. A massive web of regions lit up with activity only when the subjects stopped performing their assigned tasks. Raichle named this the default mode network, or DMN. It is a widespread, interconnected system involving the medial prefrontal cortex and the angular gyrus, the brain's default setting when it isn't occupied by a specific demand. When the prefrontal cortex relinquishes control, the DMN takes over. It immediately begins raiding the brain's archives, pulling from old memories, past conversations, and stray facts you haven't thought about in weeks. The network shuffles these unrelated concepts together, looking for hidden patterns and novel solutions. This suggests that creative insight is biologically generated by the combination of old data rather than intense concentration on the new. Why does the shower, specifically, act as such a powerful trigger for this network? It provides the first critical variable, just enough distraction. Mild, repetitive sensory input occupies the conscious mind just enough to prevent it from fixating on a single problem, allowing the back of the mind to roam. It also provides a complete absence of screens and external information. Without the constant stream of new data, the DMN has a completely empty stage to operate on. Then there is the chemical variable. The pleasant sensation of warm water triggers a release of dopamine, facilitating flexible problem-solving and divergent thinking. Finally, the privacy of the shower creates a low-stakes environment. Because you cannot fail at showering, your cortisol levels drop, creating a stress-free zone where the DMN can function without interruption. The modern shower is accidentally engineered as a perfect laboratory to force the brain out of task focus and into its default mode. Humanity has been inadvertently exploiting this biological toggle for millennia, long before the invention of the shower. Over 2,000 years ago, Archimedes famously solved the problem of volume displacement while lowering himself into a public bath in Syracuse. Albert Einstein famously found his most profound insights while sailing or playing the violin, rather than while sitting at his chalkboard. More recently, Lin-Manuel Miranda has spoken about writing significant portions of his work while riding public transit or walking. The common thread across these breakthroughs is mental white space, the biological necessity of letting the mind idle. Modern culture often treats idle time as a sign of laziness, demanding relentless productivity and constant input. By filling every spare second in a commute or a grocery line with podcasts and scrolling, we effectively starve the default mode network of the quiet it needs to function. Boredom serves as a mandatory neurological precondition for complex problem solving. To invite these insights, you must intentionally set the conditions for them. Step away from the screen, take a walk without your phone, and capture those fleeting ideas the second you towel off. To achieve your brain's most sophisticated work, you have to give it permission to do absolutely nothing.